Well, number 22 at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City will be no more this February.
That's because the Hawkeyes will retire Caitlin Clark's jersey. The jersey will hang in the rafters on February 2nd. You may notice the date 2-2 is the same as her jersey.
In basketball history, legends retire, then their jerseys follow, but not this time, so it looked like Caitlin Clark's number will be retired. Iowa's number 22 is headed to the rafters, while its owner keeps breaking records below one game. Two historic moments, a jersey immortalized, and its superstar still soaring.
Have stunned the world by announcing that they will be retiring Caitlin Clark's number at the very court she made history on. That is up in Iowa, dog. And I'm telling you right now, it's looking real spooky, by the way, because word on the street is that Asia Wilson number is set to be retired at South Carolina the exact same damn.
Twist USC's rising star Juju Watkins will watch from the visitors' bench. The player chasing Clark's records will witness firsthand as number 22 becomes eternal.
So that makes sense. They also revealed the opponent, or, they didn't reveal the opponents on the schedule for that day's game. It will be Juju Watkins and USC. So talk about a date to circle on the calendar if you're a college basketball.
Perfect timing, others call it destiny. This is the story of a jersey that couldn't wait. Numbers in basketball tell stories, but Caitlin Clark's numbers tell legends. 3,951 points and counting. Let that sink in. This isn't just a women's basketball record. This is the all-time NCAA scoring record, period. Men's or women's, doesn't matter. Nobody has ever scored more points in college basketball history than the girl from West Des Moines wearing number 22.
Not only will Caitlin Clark have her Iowa jersey retired or hung from the rafters for eternity, and you see there that's a pretty known jersey, but it will happen against one of the future stars of the game in Juju Watkins. So it will be a display where a lot of folks will get to see Juju Watkins play and what she could eventually do going forward, while reflecting on the greatness.
But reducing CLK impact to just points would be like calling Michael Jordan just a scorer. When Clark steps onto the court, something magical happens. Regular season games turn into prime time events. Local matchups become national spectacles. Every game she plays sells out, not just at Iowa, but everywhere she goes. They call it the Caitlin Clark effect, but really it's a revolution. Think about what she's done for the sport before Clark with women's basketball. Games rarely made headline news unless it was March Madness. Now networks are fighting for her regular season games. When Iowa plays, viewership numbers skyrocket. The Michigan State game in December 2023 drew 1.6 million viewers, numbers that most men's regular season games don't even touch. What makes Iowa's decision to retire her jersey so unprecedented is the timing. Typically, universities wait years after a player graduates. They wait to see their full legacy, to let time cement their impact. But with Clark, they didn't need to wait. Her impact isn't just about what she might do, it's about what she's already done.
But the entry price for this, and I sat courtside at Game 4 of Game 3 of the WNBA Finals last year, and I paid $350. The get-in price is $1,026 before fees. So it's going to cost you about $1,200. I repeat, $1,200 to watch Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement.
The numbers back this up. When Clark plays, arena attendance jumps by 6,000 to 8,000 people. That's not just at Iowa, that's everywhere she goes. Teams are literally moving their home games to bigger venues. When Iowa comes to town, Wisconsin moved their game to the Milwaukee Bucks Arena. Minnesota shifted to the Timberwolves Stadium, all because one player wearing number 22 transforms every game into an event. But it's not just about attendance. Clark has changed how people watch women's basketball. Her logo threes, shots launched from practically half court, have become must-see TV. Her no-look passes make SportsCenter top 10 regularly. She's not just playing basketball, she's putting on a show that transcends the sport. The decision to retire her number while she's still playing sends a powerful message. It says that some achievements are so monumental, some impacts so profound, that you don't need to wait to acknowledge them. It's like when Wayne Gretzky's number 99 was retired league-wide in the NHL. Some players are so special that waiting would almost seem disrespectful. What's particularly remarkable is how Clark has handled all this attention, despite breaking records, despite the sold-out arenas, despite being the face of college basketball. She's remained focused on team success. Every interview, every press conference, she redirects praise to her teammates, her coaches, the Iowa program. The records she's broken aren't just about quantity, they are about Style Clark isn't just scoring she's doing it with flair, with creativity, with a joy that's infectious. Her game combines the deep shooting of Steph Curry with the court vision of Magic Johnson. It's basketball artistry at its finest, and it's why her jersey deserves to hang in the rafters. Consider this: Clark has scored more points than Pete Maravich, more than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did in college, more than any player who's ever stepped onto a college court. But unlike those legends, she's done it in an era where every game is scrutinized, where social media amplifies both praise and criticism, where the pressure to perform is constant. The timing of the jersey retirement, while she's still adding to her legacy, makes it even more special. Every game now becomes part of the legend. Every point she scores, every assist she makes adds to the mythology of number 22. It's like watching history being written in real time, knowing that future generations will look up at that jersey and ask about the player who changed the game. That's why this jersey retirement isn't just about honoring Clark's achievements, it's about marking a moment in basketball history. Years from now, people will talk about how they watched Caitlin Clark play, how they saw her transform women's basketball, how they witnessed the rise of a legend who was so extraordinary that they couldn't even wait for her to finish playing before retiring her number. In sports, timing is everything. February 2nd, 2024, two halves wasn't chosen by accident. The symbolism of retiring number 22 on February 2nd is the kind of poetic coincidence that makes sports so special. But what makes this date truly extraordinary isn't just the numbers, it's who will be there to witness it. USC's freshman sensation Juju Watkins will be on the court that night, and this detail matters more than you might think. Watkins isn't just another talented player, she's being hailed as the next face of women's basketball. The numbers she's putting up as a freshman are drawing comparisons to what Clark did in her early days at Iowa. But here's the kicker to catch Clark scoring record. Analysts say Watkins would need to average 50 points per game. That's how high Clark has set the bar. The matchup feels almost scripted. On one side, you have Clark, the current phenomenon who's rewritten the record books and transformed women's basketball. On the other, you have Watkins, the freshman phenom who represents the future of the sport. It's like watching a torch passing ceremony, except the person passing the torch is still setting it ablaze. What makes this timing even more intriguing is the state of women's basketball right now. The sport is experiencing unprecedented growth in popularity, and much of that can be attributed to Clark's impact. TV ratings are up, social media engagement is through the roof, and more young players than ever are dreaming of following in her footsteps. Having Watkins there to witness this moment feels like a perfect representation of this growth. The choice of USC as the opponent adds another layer of significance. USC isn't just any program, it's one of the most storied women's basketball programs in the country. From Cheryl Miller to Lisa Leslie to Tina Thompson, USC has produced some of the greatest players in women's basketball history. Now, with Watkins leading their new generation, they are part of another historic moment. Then there's the venue itself, Carver Hawkeye Arena. This isn't just Iowa's home court, it's become a cathedral of women's basketball. Under Clark's reign, the same arena that typically drew a few thousand fans for women's games now sells out every single time Clark takes the floor. The symbolism of raising her jersey to those same rafters in front of the fans who've witnessed her journey is powerful. The timing of this ceremony also comes at a crucial point in the season. February marks the stretch run toward March Madness, when every game carries extra weight. By choosing this date, Iowa ensures that Clark's jersey retirement won't just be a celebration of the past, it'll be a rallying cry for what's still to come. Consider this: when the ceremony ends and the game begins, Clark will look up and see her own jersey in the rafters, while she's still adding to its legacy. That's unprecedented. Every point she scores after that moment becomes even more special. It's not just adding to her record, it's adding to the legend of a number that's already been immortalized. The presence of national media adds another dimension to the timing. This won't just be a local celebration, it'll be a national event. ESPN has already announced special coverage plans. Social media will be buzzing. The eyes of the basketball world will be on Iowa City, watching as history unfolds in multiple ways. The schedulers couldn't have planned it better if they tried a Friday night game primetime slot against a marquee opponent led by the sport's next potential superstar. It's the kind of moment that transcends sports and becomes cultural history. Decades from now, people will remember where they were when number 22 went up into the rafters while its owner was still making magic on the court below. Even the weather seems to be part of the story. February in Iowa means winter will be in full force, but basketball fans will brave any conditions to be there. The image of thousands of fans bundled up waiting to get into the arena adds to the mystique of the moment. This isn't just another game, it's a pilgrimage to witness history. The timing also serves as a bridge between eras. As Clark's jersey rises to the rafters, it won't just represent her Achievements that will represent this transformative period in women's basketball. Future players will look up at that number 22 and know that it marks the moment when women's basketball changed forever, when one player showed that the ceiling for what's possible in this sport doesn't exist. Dan Patrick's comparison of Caitlin Clark to Wayne Gretzky wasn't just a casual observation, it was a perfect explanation of what makes her different. Like Gretzky did for hockey, Clark isn't just excelling at basketball, she's revolutionizing how people see the entire sport. The difference between a great player and a phenomenon is crucial to understand. Great players fill record books, phenomena fill arenas, change narratives, and transform their sport's cultural position. When Magic Johnson and Larry Bird saved the NBA in the 1980s, they weren't just great players, they were phenomena. When Tiger Woods made golf must-watch TV, he wasn't just winning tournaments, he was a phenomenon. Look at the evidence of Clark's phenomenon effect. Iowa women's basketball games now average more viewers than most NBA regular season games. That's not supposed to happen. The Time magazine cover wasn't just about basketball excellence, it was recognition of cultural impact. When brands like State Farm and Nike are building campaigns around a college athlete, you know something unprecedented is happening. But the phenomenon effect goes deeper than just numbers and endorsements. Clark has changed how young players approach the game. Before her, launching shots from the logo was considered reckless. Now coaches around the country report that their players are practicing those long-range shots, wanting to be like Caitlin. Her no-look passes aren't just highlights, they're inspiring a new generation to think differently about how basketball can be played. The impact extends beyond the court. Clark has become a role model not just for athletic achievement, but for how to handle immense pressure and attention in an era of social media scrutiny. She's maintained authenticity while setting records. She celebrates teammates' successes enthusiastically as her own. She stays after games to sign autographs, understanding that each interaction could inspire another young player. Consider this: before Clark, women's basketball games being moved to larger venues was almost unheard of. Now it's becoming standard practice. When Iowa visits Minnesota, moved their game to the Timberwolves Arena. Nebraska shifted to their NBA league venue. Wisconsin booked the Bucks Arena. This isn't just about basketball anymore, it's about event management, economic impact, and cultural significance. The media coverage has evolved. Two sports networks that once relegated women's basketball to secondary channels are now featuring Clark's games in prime time slots. Post-game highlights aren't just showing up on women's sports segments, they are leading Sports Center. The phenomenon effect means every game is an event, every shot could be historic, every moment could go viral. But perhaps the most significant aspect of the phenomenon effect is how it's changing perceptions. Critics who claimed women's basketball couldn't be entertaining are being silenced by packed arenas and highlight reels. People who never watch women's basketball are becoming converts. The boring label that unfairly dogged the sport is disappearing, replaced by appreciation for the skill, strategy, and excitement that were always there. This jersey retirement ceremony isn't just acknowledging statistical achievements, it's recognizing a cultural shift. When that number 22 rises to the rafters, it represents more than points and assists, it represents sold out arenas, broken viewership records, changed perceptions, and a new era for women's basketball. It represents the moment when a great player became a phenomenon and when women's basketball became must-watch entertainment. Most importantly, the phenomenon effect creates a blueprint for future players. Clark has shown that with the right combination of skill, showmanship, and authenticity, women's basketball players can transcend sport and become cultural icons. She's proven that there's no ceiling on what women's basketball can become, no limit to its potential for growth and popularity. That's why this jersey retirement feels so right. Even while Clark is still playing, some achievements are so significant, some impact so profound that waiting would miss the point. The phenomenon effect is happening right now, and Iowa is right to recognize it in real time. Years from now, when people look up at that number 22 in the rafters, they won't just remember the points and assists, they'll remember the moment when women's basketball changed forever. History doesn't just happen, it's made by those brave enough to break the mold. On February 2nd, we're not just watching a jersey retirement, we're witnessing the celebration of a player who changed the game forever. If you want to stay updated on everything Caitlin Clark and women's basketball, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Drop a comment below with your favorite Caitlin Clark moment.